as testimony is being taken on the bill and feedback's coming in, we're looking at what the industry is providing, what advocates are requesting, what other agencies like the Attorney General's office have provided. Behind the scenes, we are very involved in sort of giving our input on what's been suggested, what we think is the best path forward.
House Bill 2225 had an executive session in the House Technology, Economic Development, and Veterans Committee on January 23rd. An executive session is when legislators vote on the bill to move it out of committee. Amendments to the bill can be suggested, and each amendment will be voted on by the members of that committee. Then the bill, with or without amendments, is voted on. Or sometimes all of the amendments are rolled into a new bill, which will be called a substitute.
There are two proposed substitutes in the EBB. The first, H3140.1 by Representative Thomas, makes several changes. It specifies that the types of systems that are excluded from the definition of an AI companion chatbot used for specific purposes such as customer service are exempt if they don't create sustained relationship building or emotional simulation.
It's often cleaner in my just sort of legislative experience to just have a substitute bill that rolls it all in together, and then requiring members to vote on a whole lot of different amendments and just the complexity of making sure all the amendments work together in that final version. I think it's easier for staff and certainly for us to just sort of say, here's what the final should look like for the proposed substitute all together. And ultimately, the legislators will make the decision what's in that substitute.
This proposed substitute...
In this case, Rep. Thomas is on the committee, and so she did the proposed substitute.
Both Democratic and Republican lawmakers on the committee suggested their own substitutes.
I think the two proposed subs are taking different approaches. I think there's a lot of commonalities in their end goals.
Can we pick and choose from each of the subs at this stage? Oh, no. No, we can't.
Ultimately, the committee advanced a substitute from Representative Thomas, which will now be called Substitute House Bill 2225.
I move that proposed substitute House Bill 2225, H3140.1, be reported out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
It has been moved and seconded that proposed substitute House Bill version H3140.1 be reported out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
The substitute strengthens the original bill's focus on transparency and safety. It exempts AI tools used specifically for education. It mandates that providers tell the Attorney General's office if there have been mental health concerns or questions. It requires the operator to tell the user every hour that they're talking to a chatbot and not a human. And it prohibits the chatbot operator from mimicking romantic partnership or simulating feelings of emotional distress or loneliness if the user wants to log off.
We've worked very closely with the governor's office and the Washington State PTA in the development of this substitute. I ask for your support.
Representative Barnard, author of the other substitute bill, which was not selected for passage, brought up some of the reasons why the Republicans on the committee might not be voting to move the bill forward, despite supporting the sentiments of the bill.
There's a lot of good content in the sub that was proposed on our side that's now out of order, but feel like there is...
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you. Yeah, thanks so much for being here and in this really beautiful space and being here for this bill signing. We so appreciate it. Let's get started, all right? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for being here on this busy day. We have 3 bills that we'll be signing into law. And so let me just first start with logistics for the meeting. So there are 3 bills. We'll go through them like we normally do. I'll say a few words, and then we have a couple of the sponsors for 2 of them who will also say a few words on each of those bills, and then, of course, we'll sign them. For anyone who's here for the bill signings, you are more than welcome to join us back here. If you were a part of this, by all means, you're more than welcome to come join us for that. The more the merrier. I'm proud today to be signing 3 bills that help protect the rights of our immigrant communities here in Washington State. Today, for example, we're ensuring that state employees have access to shared leave for immigration proceedings, that workers receive notice when federal immigration authorities plan to conduct workplace inspections, and that we are setting clear boundaries on what technology and the data it generates can and cannot be used for. Just at a high level, we're living in a challenging time on a range of issues, but I think it's fair to say At the top of those challenging issues is what's going on with ICE and truly the terrorizing of communities all across our country. And Washington State is not immune to what's going on, to put it mildly. I've probably said it 1,000 times this year, but I'll keep saying it, is I find it deeply un-American, what's going on, deeply un-American, contrary to all of our values and what we hold dear as a country and as a state. And the idea that masked individuals jump out of unmarked cars and plug people off our streets is, outrageous in the extreme. And so, while we can't stop that, we don't have that power. Nobody here does. As an individual, as a legislator, or as a governor, that does not mean we are helpless in the face of that. That we can work together collectively to do everything that is in our power to stand up for communities all across our state. And to make sure at the same time that in doing that, that we want them to know that we see them, we see what's going on, and that we are trying to use all the tools we have to stand up for them. And that's why I so deeply appreciate everybody who worked hard on all three pieces of legislation. Every bill, we'll talk about the legislators in a moment, but they all recognize that individuals speaking, testifying, writing emails, making phone calls, showing up, going to rallies, that's what brings it all together. And in a short session, which I'm so pleased, especially in a short session, to get this much done on a whole range of issues, but on these bills in particular is a testament to the hard work of the legislators and to each and every one of you. So with that, let's start with the first bill that we have, and let me make sure I got the right one. Yes, we're on Senate Bill 6002 will be the first bill that we sign. Automated license plate reading systems help law enforcement, but they also generate data that can be exploited by the federal government. Washington currently has no statewide law regulating them. Senate Bill 6002 strikes a balance, allowing use of this tool while safeguarding the sensitive information it generates. It prohibits cameras near sensitive areas like protected healthcare providers and courts, including immigration courts. It limits the retention of the data these systems generate and creates penalties for unauthorized access. This is obviously a huge issue, in our state. I so appreciate all the work on this bipartisan legislation. But of course, we have a special thank you to the sponsor of this legislation, the prime sponsor, in this case, State Senator Yasmin Trudeau. Give her a huge round of applause. And of course, the sponsor of the companion legislation, State Representative Salahuddin. Give him a round of applause. And before I sign this bill into law, if the Senator doesn't mind saying a few words, she's worked extremely hard in this legislation. I know her back from our days in the Office of Attorney General, so I've known the Senator for a long, long time, and to say she's been a champion on these issues would, of course, be an understatement. So give her another round of applause.
So I just want to start by thanking everyone, because the governor is absolutely right. None of this happens without the folks that came in, shared their stories, their concerns, and put in all the hard work. I always describe this job as sort of being the person that gets to tip the ball into the net after everybody's already brought the ball down the court. So I want to start just by saying that. I also want to thank the advocates in particular for trusting me to deliver the strongest bill in the country, but also one that was not without controversy in both the process and the outcome. So I want to thank them for showing up today and for advocating all the time for privacy rights of all Washingtonians. I also want to help those who helped expose, I want to give a shout out to those who helped expose the problem in the first place, institutions like the Washington Center for Human Rights, and I want to thank the cities for showing up in good faith. Not every stakeholder did, a lot absolutely did, and I want to thank the cities for that. I also want to thank Senator Holy and Representative Salahuddin. This was a very strong bipartisan bill. And although I was motivated from my own experience and my relationships within the immigrant community and being an immigrant myself, this is also about Washington State's Constitution and the fact that we need to respect the privacy of all individuals anytime we take on technology, particularly surveillance technology. So this should be a bipartisan effort. It was a bipartisan effort, and I'm really, really proud of that. Our goal was to regulate the data, and I think for the public, there are three things that I'd want the public to know about this bill. One is it lays out the rules of the road, so that includes restricting the sharing of that data with federal government and other outside entities. The sharing with Immigration Customs Enforcement is prohibited under this bill. What happens when the rules are not followed is clear enforcement. You have enforcement against the individual through a private right of action, the institution, and there is also an Attorney General Consumer Protection Act enforcement against the company itself, which is the first state in the country to do that. You can actually pursue against the company itself for violating the restrictions that are put into this bill. And lastly, what might be clear but not so clear if you read the bill is that there is the ability to look under the hood. We, as state legislators, can request audits, and I hope the governor's office will support me in doing so. We can continue to make sure that those, quote, bona fide research institutions like the UW Center of Human Rights also have the ability to access the full public records, even though they are limited for privacy protections for both the public and institutions under this bill. I want to make sure that the public understands that. If you can and you know that there is someone that is violating that, please report that to the State Attorney General, an institution that I know the governor and I both respect very much. Those are the three things that I want folks to know. I'm also not here endorsing this technology. My job was to make the rules of the road, and I think it's really, really important, and I think I speak for everybody who worked on it, that we continue to engage at the local level and make sure that our constituents understand these cameras, what they do, and that they consent to their use. This is the floor, not the ceiling. So I want to thank everybody that worked on it and thank for their trust, but I think it's good to just be very clear about what we did, why we did it, and it took a whole lot of work in 60 days. So thank you so much to all of my colleagues. Yeah, let's get it done.
Awesome. And so now it's my honor to sign this legislation into the law, Senate Bill 6002. And the pen, as always, goes to the prime sponsor. Give the senator another round of applause for her leadership. And now we're all going to take a picture, everybody, all right? Look right up here. How we doing?
Looks great. We got it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Congratulations, everybody. Okay. And Representative Ortiz is not here. Okay, just want to make sure.
But are you going to accept on her behalf?
No, I don't think so. Okay, our next bill, everybody, is House Bill 2105. House Bill 2105. Immigrant workers fuel Washington's economy and contribute to our culture and prosperity, and we must work hard to protect their rights. This legislation is requested by the Office of the Attorney General, Nick Brown, of course. House Bill 2105 ensures workers receive notice when federal immigration authorities conduct workplace employment eligibility inspections. It requires employers to notify workers within 5 days of receiving an inspection notice and to provide the result of the inspection within 5 days after receiving them. It also prohibits employers from voluntarily consenting to federal agencies accessing, reviewing, or obtaining worker records without a subpoena or a judicial warrant, except when required by federal law. Once again, we so appreciate everybody's hard work on this legislation, especially the prime sponsor, State Representative Lillian Ortiz-Self, and the companion sponsor, Senator Rebecca Saldana, who could not be here today, but give them a round of applause loud enough so they can hear us on TVW. And we've now signed that into law. Let's take a photo, everybody. Awesome. Okay, and one more. Give me just 1 second. The pen for the representative. Thanks. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and last but certainly not least, this is House Bill 2411. Washington's shared leave program allows state employees to donate excess leave for their colleagues to use. House Bill 2411 allows state employees who are absent from work for immigration proceedings or have been victimized by hate crimes to access the state's shared leave program. These events can cause significant disruptions for people who experience them, and they have already happened. Last year, one of our state workers and her son were detained at the border then sent to a Texas detention center for weeks. This legislation ensures employees like her can access shared leave so paychecks continue during those extraordinarily difficult times. Once again, we appreciate the hard work of everybody on this legislation. Before I sign this into law, however, I want to make sure we give a special shout out to the prime sponsor, Representative Salahuddin, who's going to say a few words. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Governor Ferguson, colleagues, friends. I'm Usman Salahuddin, State Representative from the 48th Legislative District. Earlier this session, I stood on the House floor and shared a story, one that the Governor just mentioned, about an employee, a state employee, who's a legal resident, a single mother of a child, a 6-year-old, who was detained by ICE and sent to Texas for 3 weeks. Her coworkers desperately wanted to help her. They wanted to donate their leave, but couldn't under state law. Today, that changes. House Bill 2411 says clearly, if you are a victim of a hate crime, or if immigration enforcement comes for you or your family, you don't have to choose between your job and your safety. Your coworkers can stand with you, and the law will stand with you. Washington has always expanded leave to meet the moment, from military families to survivors of domestic violence, for new parents, and today we will expand it again for our immigrant workers and our refugee neighbors, our public servants who deserve to be kept whole. This didn't happen alone. I'm very proud to represent a district of over 43% immigrants whose voices were imperative in getting this legislation moved forward. It also took the workers, the advocates, other legislators, and a governor willing to sign this into law to move this forward. And I'm very grateful to each and every one of them. This session, we've seen some incredible wins for our immigrant and refugee community neighbors, including ones that we've already signed into law today, regulating automatic license plate readers and making sure that we create safeguards for employees subject to federal inspection. I want to thank all of my colleagues for their work in getting these bills moved forward, but there's a lot of work left to be done. I'll close with this. To Washington's immigrant and refugee neighbors, I want to say we see you, we hear you, and we will continue to keep fighting for you every step of the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Thanks for your work on this. And it's really my honor to sign this legislation into law. And give a round of applause to everybody who worked on this. One more picture, everybody. Let's do one more. Awesome. Hey, thanks, everybody. Yeah, great job. Great job. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.